Yo, what's good? Salutations to nations. It's your boy Young Sinai.
Angel Nine.
So, this is about my favorite company that I love to hate and hate to love, Nintendo. Man, I hate Nintendo and love Nintendo at the same time. I feel like it's like a relationship. Now I don't want to say what type of relationship it is because I ain't trying to get demonetized. All right, so check it out. This is the man who Nintendo sued for $1.6 million. All right. Here we go.
So imagine you are Nintendo. In just 1 week, your next Mario game is about to be released. But then, disaster strikes. The game somehow pops up on the internet to download for free. This is obviously not good, so you dig for clues about who leaked the game. And before long, a name comes up. James Burt. You decide to sue him for $1.5 million. Here's what happened. So, first off, we need to talk about Australia real quick. Now, Australia is generally pretty unlucky when it comes to video games. Games generally cost more and come out later than the rest of the world. But in 2009, Nintendo decided to buck this trend with their new Mario game, New Super Mario Bros. Wii. For once, the game was set to launch first in Australia, then a few days later in America, a week after that in Europe, and almost a whole month later in Japan, where the game was actually developed. So, November the 12th, that was when New Super Mario Bros. Wii was set to be released in Australia, the earliest date in the world. And one person who was paying close attention to that date was 24-year-old James Burt.
That dude was 24. He looked like he's 37.
At the time, he was living with his parents, and he was a huge gaming fan. He'd bought just about every major console that came out since he was a teenager, and he also liked to chat on online gaming forums. And it was these forums that got him into so much trouble later on. Now, according to his father, as a parent, I can tell you that he's a very quiet lad. He's a fanatical computer game player, to his detriment. So yes, this is James Burt. Now, one day James was shopping in a large Australian shop, you'll have to guess which one, when he noticed something. That new upcoming Mario game, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, was available early. This was November the 6th, a full week before the official release date. James Burt grabbed the game and took it to the checkout, and they let him buy it. He was the first person in the world outside of Nintendo to own this game, and he was pretty happy about it. So James Burt headed home and started chatting on his gaming forums when the topic of New Super Mario Bros. Wii came up. Now, this part of the story is where things get a little tricky. According to James's father, his son was egged on by the other people in the forum to prove that he actually got the game early. Upload the files, people told him, until eventually James gave in and uploaded the data from his disk onto the forum. Now, it's worth pointing out that Wii games actually have certain copy protections that mean that people couldn't actually just double-click on the files James uploaded and start playing the game. However, it didn't take more than a day until members of the gaming forum had broken through these copy protections. And within 5 days, 50,000 people had downloaded and played New Super Mario Bros. Wii, a whole week before it had come out anywhere in the world. So that's what James Burt's dad said happened. However, according to Nintendo...
Man, James Burt's dad went on Reddit. He don't know what these people... He just saying anything just to have his son back.
Things went down a little differently. They claim that rather than being pressured into uploading...
That dude looked like a character off of Friends with that shirt.
The data to prove that he really did get the game early, James Burt actually directly messaged a bunch of well-known members of the forum and sent them the data to try and make himself look cool, I guess. Obviously, we don't know which version of events is true. Nintendo is going to be biased against James, whereas his dad is obviously going to be biased in his favor. In truth, the actual events are probably somewhere in between. But the end result is the same. Before the end of the week, New Super Mario Bros. Wii had been downloaded for free 50,000 times. And unsurprisingly, Nintendo didn't exactly ignore this. As they themselves stated, Nintendo was able to employ the use of sophisticated technological forensics to identify the individual responsible for illegally copying the file and
AKA, they got on Reddit,
making it available for further distribution. Now, they don't state exactly how they figured out James Burt's identity, but before even a month had gone by, Nintendo obtained a federal court search order, which would let them search James Burt's home. And during this search, they seized some of James's property, most likely his computer, which they claim served as further evidence against him.
Them Nintendo ninjas is real out there, man. Them Nintendo ninjas is real.
In other words, James Burt was busted. Nintendo had rock-solid proof that he was the leaker who uploaded their game onto the internet. And thus began the legal action. James Burt was brought to federal court for breaching Australia's Copyright Act. And
Yo, not... Yo, shout outs to people in Australia, but I'm sorry, but I find this to be hilarious. Let me run it back. Hold on. Hold on. Not their seal has a kangaroo. I'm sorry, Australia. That's just funny to me. I'm sorry. It's late. I'll blame it on me being tired.
Burt was brought to federal court for breaching Australia's Copyright Act. And there really wasn't any question of guilt. It was very obvious that James Burt was guilty, and the case only took 4 months to settle. The result? James was ordered to pay 1.5 million Australian dollars to Nintendo to recuperate the lost sales Nintendo could have made. Or, as Nintendo phrased it, the legal proceeding resulted in a settlement in which the individual will pay to Nintendo the sum of $1.5 million by way of damages to compensate Nintendo for the loss of sales revenue caused by the individual's actions. However, that wasn't the end of the demands. James Burt also had to pay Nintendo's legal fees, a hefty $100,000. Plus,
excuse me. See, now Nintendo just being petty. Okay, I understood the damages, but Nintendo got the money to go to court. I mean, let's be for real. That's Nintendo's favorite place to be. They like being in court more than they like developing games. Okay, so for them to make him pay for his legal fees, their legal fees too, that's crazy. They're just doing the most.
he was forbidden from commenting publicly on the case. His father, though, was not.
That's why I was wondering, we keep hearing about what his dad has to say, but what does he have to say? But I guess this is why.
Subject to the same restrictions, and so he went to great lengths to defend his son's name. It was peer pressure on the internet forums and the blog sites that led him to do a very, very silly thing to prove that he'd actually managed to purchase a game before its release date, his father stated. It was certainly done with no malice or intent to make money. And
was his dad his lawyer or something? Like, I feel like the lawyer should be making these statements, not the dad. I think that the lawyer would make it, dress it up a little bit more.
That seems like the end of the story. But there's one final, slightly bizarre footnote. 3 years later, James Burt popped up on Reddit to say this. Hey there, James Burt from Australia here. Just saying, I think it's ironic that out of everyone in Australia they could have chosen, I get given a Ganon statue for being a good customer of Nintendo. Yeah, so years after the lawsuit had ended and James Burt had paid his dues, Nintendo decided to gift him a Ganon amiibo. I was given a phone call from my
What?
local EB
Yo, that's so random. Nintendo is petty.
Games saying Nintendo chose me and to come pick it up. No actual reason for winning, and EB Games had no info.
I would not trust going to pick up anything from Nintendo after they done sued you. You tell me, are you walking into that Nintendo building? Nah, man, y'all better ship that to a PO box.
On it, just that I won. No papers came with it, just the figure in a Nintendo brown box. I'm very grateful they chose me, don't get me wrong, and I do still love Nintendo after being sued.
That's the thing, man. That's how you know Nintendo's such a good company. Like, you hate their guts, but you still love them. That's how I feel.
So, I personally think it's kind of immoral to sue an individual for such a huge amount of money. Obviously, piracy is a crime, but like...
When I say I hate their guts, I'm not talking about them as individuals. I'm just saying the company and the way that they operate. I just want to make that clear.
No one died, no one was hurt, and New Super Mario Bros. Wii ended up selling over 30 million copies. So, I think Nintendo ended up doing just fine for themselves. But $1.6 million, equivalent to about £850,000, that is an amount that changes your life forever. Unless you're like Jeff Bezos, that is going to take a long time to pay off. Still, James Burt seems to be doing fine. In the years since the lawsuit, he's started multiple online gaming blogs, which is cool, and he doesn't seem to be bitter, which is impressive. I think that if I was in his situation, I would have a lot more resentment harbored up inside of me. I guess we should all aspire to be a bit more like James Burt. Other than the piracy thing, of course.
Nintendo super petty. How do I feel about this? I mean, he was in the wrong because he uploaded the ROM, so that's probably why he didn't feel too salty, because he was probably like, well, I knew that there was a risk that I was taking. But you know who I didn't hear get in trouble was the store. The store that sold it to him. They didn't face any type of legal repercussions for their actions for putting it out on the shelves early. I feel like Nintendo should be upset with them too, right? Am I tripping? It's been real. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Please subscribe, okay? I am on my journey to 1,000 subs. Thank you for everyone who has subscribed. I appreciate y'all kicking it with me. And salutations to the nations. Peace.
Angel Knot.